If you're running a small business as a solo entrepreneur, or you just have a couple of people in your company, you don't really need to purchase a dedicated email service. I'm going to show you how to set up a professional business email on your own custom domain completely for free, and it works with Gmail. You'll be able to send and receive emails from any name at yourdomain.com, and no one will know Gmail is running behind the scenes. No Zoho, no Google Workspace, no monthly subscription. Before I show you how to do this, let's go over what's happening so you'll have a better understanding as we go through the process. When you make a purchase with Namecheap or GoDaddy or some other registrar, they become the owners of what's called the name server. The name server does a couple of things. One, it translates when someone types in yourdomain.com into a set of numbers. The internet, like all computers, uses numbers instead of names, so your domain has to be translated into a number. Now that name server also houses the DNS records. The DNS records are basically the traffic cop that tells the name server that when somebody calls for the website, go to the website. When somebody calls for an email, go to the email server. When somebody calls for an app, go to the app. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hijack the name server, we're going to take control of the DNS records, and we're going to do this through Cloudflare. Now when we take control of the name server and the DNS records through Cloudflare, we now have the flexibility to manage our domains, our subdomains, and our email. We're going to set this up to where when someone sends you an email at yourdomain.com, we're going to route it through Cloudflare, run it through the DNS records, and send it to Gmail. Then we're going to set up Gmail to reply from that email address back to the recipient or send a new email from your domain out to anyone on the internet. Okay, the first thing you're going to need is a Cloudflare account. You can start for free. It's always free. They make their money from developers and products and partners. But for you and what we're going to do, we're going to set up a free account. When you log in, you're going to be at your account home, and we'll get back to this in a minute. Now, I use Namecheap for all my domain purchases. There's a link below if you want to use it also. But it doesn't really matter where you've purchased your domain. What we're going to do is we're going to change the name servers and take control of those name servers in the DNS records on Cloudflare. I'm going to use this MJ Concepts LLC to show you guys how to do this. We're going to go to Manage. When we get to Manage, we're going to look for the name servers. And if you've purchased from GoDaddy or Squarespace, somewhere like that, just find where you can change the name servers. Select the down arrow here. We're going to select a custom DNS. Now it's asking for 2 name servers. We're going to go back over to Cloudflare, and we're going to select the Add button. We're going to connect a domain. Now it wants to know the name of the domain. We're going to go over here and grab it. We're going to drop it in. We're going to go down and hit continue. We're going to select a free plan. And Cloudflare went over to Namecheap and grabbed all the DNS records. Now just because it went and grabbed those for display, we really don't own them yet. We don't own the name servers yet. So we're going to continue to activation. And now Cloudflare has given us the names of the 2 name servers we need to replace over in Namecheap. So I'm going to copy that, go over to Namecheap and drop this in the name server 1, go back to Cloudflare, grab the second name server, go back to Namecheap, drop that in the name server 2, hit the check mark. Now I'm going to go back over to Cloudflare, go down, tell Cloudflare that I updated my servers, click the check name servers now, and Cloudflare is checking the name servers. Now if we go back to domains, you're going to see it has an invalid name server. Now it says it takes 2 or 3 or 4 hours. It doesn't. It only takes a few minutes. You just have to hit the refresh button a few times and then see that our domain is active. So we now own the name servers and the DNS records. If you click on the domain, go over to the left, you'll see DNS, go to records, and now we own the DNS records and we can manipulate these any way we want. Now what's important to understand is if you've purchased email from some other outside service, like through Namecheap or through GoDaddy, Squarespace, or Google Workspace, you're not going to be able to do this because the MX records for those services are going to be attached to the DNS records here. The process we're about to undergo deletes all of these records. And if you delete the records from the email services you've already purchased, your email won't work. Now, if you don't want to use those services anymore and you want to use this concept, then you're going to be okay. You can delete the records, and we'll use Cloudflare to bypass your old records. If you're worried about it at all, you can always export the DNS records and save them in a folder on your computer. Then if there's a problem, you can always import them back, and then you'll have those records. Just keep in mind this for a fresh domain that doesn't have an email service attached to it. So now we're going to create a custom business address and forward that to your Gmail account. We're going to go over here to the left to email, go to email routing. We're going to select get started, and here's where we can enter our custom email address. You can enter any name you like here before your domain. You can use support, you can use info, you can use sales. I'm going to enter the demo account holder's name here, so I've entered monica.jackson, and it's going to give me an email address at mjconceptsllc.com. The destination address is going to be her Gmail account, demo.monica.jackson@gmail.com. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to drop that in the destination. I'm going to select create and continue. This email address has already been verified because the Cloudflare account is set up under this email address. If you're sending to a destination address that hasn't been verified, the owner of that destination address has to click on the verification link that Cloudflare will send to them before this destination address can be used as a forwarding address. When you click continue, it brings you to the routing rules, and you can see on our routing rules there's a problem. First of all, we've got an icon down here that tells us the custom address is not routing due to misconfigured domain. Also at the top, it tells us email routing is currently disabled and not routing emails. We need to enable email routing. There are records we have to delete and records we have to add. These are the MX records I was talking about previously. I'm going to manually delete all of these records. Now that I've deleted all the records, I have the Cloudflare records that I need to enable. So I'm going to add and enable these. Now it's telling me that the routing status is enabled and the email DNS records are configured. So let's go back to the routing rules, and we'll see we have a custom address now, monica.jackson@mjconceptsllc.com is sent to demo.monica.jackson@gmail.com, and it's active. Okay, let's test this out. Let's send an email to monica.jackson@mjconceptsllc and see if it comes to her Gmail account. I'm going to pull up another demo account. I'm going to compose an email to monica.jackson@mjconceptsllc.com, and I'm going to send it. Now let's go over to Monica's Gmail account and see if she received the email. And there it is. And it was sent to monica.jackson@mjconceptsllc.com. Now, if Monica replies to this, she's going to reply as her Gmail address. She's replied, so we're going to go back to the other email address. We're going to read her reply, but it came from her Gmail account. So the next phase is to change this where it comes back from her domain email. Hey friends, if you got just a little bit of value out of this, could you do me a huge favor? It would mean the world to me if you could hit that subscribe button. It gives me just a little bit of validation that something that I put out means something to someone. Thanks. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is go to our manager. We're going to manage our Google account. We're going to go to security and sign in. We're going to make sure we've got a two-step verification set up. Currently this one's off. We're going to turn on two-step verification. If you don't have it set up yet, go ahead and set up your two-step verification. Then we're going to go back. Now we're going to search the Google account for app passwords. We're going to select app passwords, and we're going to give this process a name. And I'm going to call this Monica MJ Concepts LLC email. I'm going to create. Now it's going to give you an app password. You need to copy this password and save it somewhere. Click done. If you can't find it, you just need to type in myaccount.google.com/app-passwords, and it should bring it up. Then we're going to go back to the Gmail account. We're going to click the gear icon. We're going to see all settings. We're going to go to accounts and import, and we're going to add another email address. It's going to bring up this new box. The name you put in here is the name it's going to be shown as when you send. Email address is the domain email address we want to send as. Go to next step. Now the SMTP server is going to be the Gmail server. So we're going to put in smtp.gmail.com. We're going to leave the port at 587. The username is the Gmail account that you're going to use to send these emails out. The password is that long generated password that we just created and saved a moment ago. Click Add Account. What's going to happen is it's going to send an email confirmation to this Monica Jackson at mjconceptsllc.com. But really that's going to come to our Gmail address because we already set up the forwarding earlier. So let's go to the inbox of the Gmail account. And there's the email. So all we have to do is click on this confirm link and click the confirm button. Now let's go back to our Gmail and send an email. We're going to click on compose. And now if we click the down arrow here, we can send from either one of these two email addresses. I can send from the Gmail account, or I can select here and send from the domain account. So now it's going to send from Monica Jackson at mjconceptsllc.com to me. Here's the subject, here's the body. Let's send it. Now we're going to my demo account, go to the inbox. We can see it was sent from Monica Jackson. And if we open it up, it's from Monica Jackson at mjconceptsllc.com. So it's working perfectly. Now we're going to set up a signature for this new email. We're going to click the gear icon, go to See All Settings. We're in the General tab. We're going to come down. And currently there's a signature for Monica for her Gmail account. But we need a signature for this new account. So we're going to click Create New. We're going to give it a name, call it Monica Business, create it. And I've created a signature in Canva we're going to use. It's not hard. There's 100 videos out there that shows you how to create a signature in Canva. I created this, saved it as a PNG file, and now I'm going to insert it into the signature. So I'm going to click the images here. I'm going to go to my Google Drive. I'm going to click Upload. I'm going to browse my computer. I'm going to grab the image, allow anyone to see it, and there it is. Now I'm going to change the signature default to monica.jackson@mjconceptsllc.com. For new emails, I'm going to use the Monica Business. For replies or forward, I'm going to use the Monica Business. Then I'm going to go down and save changes. So now when I compose an email and I change the from to the domain email, Monica's signature comes up. If I change back to the other email, Monica's Gmail signature comes up. So now when I want to create a business email, I select the email, the signature pops up, I can send it to anyone with a subject and whatever I need in the body. The second part to this is I can go to the gear icon and see all settings. I can go to accounts and import, and if I want to, I can make the domain email the default email. So if I click here and say make default, you now see that the domain email is the default email. So when I compose now, it automatically comes up as the default email. There's one more setting I can click, and it's reply from the same address the message was sent to. If I click this, then I don't have to worry about changing. If someone sends an email to my Gmail address, it will reply from the Gmail address. And if someone sends an email to my domain address, then it will reply from the domain address. Or if I click this button, no matter who it's sent to, the reply always comes from the domain address. Okay, so there's a couple more things we have to do. Remember this email? Well, it was sent via gmail.com. Not many people notice this, but Gmail does. And it's wondering what in the heck is going on. It's coming from Cloudflare, it's going to a Gmail, and then it's going out via another domain. It's got spam written all over it. So what we need to do is tell Gmail this is a legit domain and a legit email address. So the first thing we need to do is use the Google Postmaster Tools. You just search for Google Postmaster Tools. Make sure you're logged in with your Gmail in a tab. Make sure you're logged into Cloudflare in a tab because we're going to use it in a minute, and get started. So if you haven't used this before, it'll ask you to enter a domain name. If you have, we hit the plus button. Now it wants to authenticate an email address, but really what it wants to authenticate is a domain. So we need to put our domain in here, and our domain is mjconceptsllc.com. I'm going to copy that, and we'll drop it in here. Then I'm going to hit this next button, and it's going to give me some code that I need to put in my DNS records. Well, we can do that easily. We have access to the DNS records. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go to Cloudflare. I'm going to go to the DNS records, and I'm going to add a record. I'm going to hit this drop down. I'm going to select TXT. I'm going to paste that in the content. Then I'm going to grab the @ symbol and drop it in here. I'm going to click Save. Then I'm going to go back over to the tools, and I'm going to select Verify. Now the domain has been verified by Google using Google Tools. I'm going to select Done, and you'll see your domain is on the verified list. Okay, so the final thing we have to do is go into our DNS records and add a little piece of code to one of the records. So we go into the DNS records and we look for this SPF1 include record. We're going to edit that, and we're going to add another include. We're going to add this include statement, include:/spf.google.com. I'm going to blow it up a little bit, and then we're going to save this record, and that's the last thing we need to do.